May 1st, China's third aircraft carrier, the Fujian, left its place at the Jiangnan shipyard and went to the sea. That signals it underwent its first sea trial. All carriers, when built, first need to finish a series of trial and test missions. China's second carrier, the Shandong, underwent 9 sea trials, with most usually lasting for a week or so. As there is typically additional work done to the carrier between those trials, the whole process for a carrier to finish all the trials and to be commissioned into service can last for some time. For the Shandong carrier, that took a year and a half from its first sea trial. But that was a simpler carrier of a fairly known design and known features. Fujian is the first of its kind for China, a large 80,000-ton carrier with electromagnetic catapults and probably a myriad of other new systems, all to be tested. Another benchmark could be US carrier tests, though the US Navy does trials and tests a bit differently. The US does limited builders and acceptance trials, and their carriers usually get commissioned mere months after the first sea trial, but can then take 2 years to do post-delivery modifications to the carrier, additional sea trials, and so on. Last of the Nimitzes, a well-run design, took some 2.5 years before the ship was ready for its first regular deployment. The Ford-class carrier introduced many new subsystems and technologies. It was an extreme example. After its commissioning in 2017, a myriad of problems needed to be solved. Full 5 years elapsed before the carrier was ready for its first deployment. So when will China's carrier be ready? Too early to tell for sure. China has been launching aircraft from its electromagnetic catapults for a decade now at a land facility, so it's possible that technology might not be as much of a stumbling block as it was for the Ford carrier. Then again, there are always unknown issues that might arise. It's therefore unlikely the actual first deployment or initial operational capability will be anywhere close to what China experienced with the Shandong carrier. Will it be as prolonged as the US Ford carrier? That remains to be seen. But at this point, there's no way to know. While commissioning may happen within 2 or so years, actual combat deployments may have to wait between 2.5 and 5 years. Besides the electromagnetic catapults, the Fujian is novel because it's 50% larger than the previous Chinese carrier, the Shandong. Indeed, Fujian, at its 80,000 tons of displacement, is roughly comparable to the US Forrestal class. That was the first of the US Navy's supercarriers. Like the Forrestal, the Fujian is also conventionally fueled, unlike the Ford, which uses a nuclear reactor to heat up steam for its steam turbines. The Fujian had its construction begin in 2015 or 2016. It was launched in June 2022 and was being fitted out until now. More recently, there were images suggesting the carrier underwent load tests for its catapults. Its deck received final coatings and final paint marks, and various aircraft mock-ups were observed on the deck, suggesting a variety of aircraft to see service on it eventually. The J-15 fighter jet, the J-35 next-generation stealth fighter jet, the KJ-600 AWACS-like turboprop plane, and the JL-10 training jet, alongside helicopters. The US Ford carrier is of course bigger at 100,000 tons and can carry more aircraft. It has 4 catapults compared to Fujian's 3, and 3 aircraft elevators compared to Fujian's 2. The Fujian may be a transitional class for China before it moves on to nuclear-fueled carriers, as such rumors and indications have been mentioned many times. That may indeed happen in the 2030s, but for now the first sea trial of the carrier is a sign of things to come. That's it for this video. You've probably noticed the video format is different. It's something we're toying with for our newsflash videos. You gotta keep testing new stuff with YouTube, what works and what doesn't, especially with lots of old stuff not really working anymore. Anyway, until next time, salutations.